what are my chances, where Shrikant and I evaluate the profiles that have been sent in by students wanting to know what are the chances and what are the chances for particular B schools that they have mentioned. So today's profile that we have, interesting profile. So this is a male. He is an engineer. Has 12 plus years experience. I don't really get this 12 plus. Like what's 12 plus, right? It's either 12 or 13, but it's 12 plus. I'm assuming it's 12 years and a few months. He's into the heavy industries, into manufacturing. Has a 700 on the GMAT. Post MBA, he wants to get into a leadership role. That's what he's mentioned. He wants to get into a leadership role. Extracurriculars, among a couple of other things he has listed, he likes singing, right? So that's where he is. He is okay for any program, anywhere, as long as it's going to help him. So he's very flexible. He understands that his profile is slightly different, so he doesn't want to kind of restrict. He says, just tell me what are the kind of schools that where do I go. So 10 plus, 12 plus years experience, manufacturing, 700 GMAT.
I think it's a great profile.
Okay.
I've seen such profiles in the past, and typically these people bring a lot of value in terms of what they have done. So typically when somebody comes from a manufacturing background, it means they would have worked on the shop floor, they would have worked with blue collar workers.
Right.
So these people are actually the right people to teach us what is people management.
Right.
They have dealt with, when we face problems in our office, we are dealing with people who are as educated as we are. So therefore connecting to them is a lot easier. But when you are working in a setup like this guy, the manufacturing guy, heavy industries.
So I think he probably is like, we can take the equivalent of working for Tata Steel or
something like that. Yeah, anybody
like that.
who works in a big plant, machinery setup kind of thing. These guys, they are not just dealing people like them, which is other management, right? He will have his own colleagues, his boss, they are there. But he also needs to get a lot of work done by the people at the lower levels, the blue collared workers.
Correct.
Handling them is a totally different ball game. And if he has done it for 12 years, he's the guy to learn about how do you handle people expectations.
Correct.
So for him, I don't even, he has a great GMAT score. For me, personally, 12 years experience with 700
is great.
It's already great. But in his interview, I will not focus at all about his academics or not at all about his technical work per se. It will focus more about, tell me the ups and downs you would have faced in your career. You have worked in this kind of scenario environment. Were you ever in a security situation ever? Or were you ever in a situation where there was some sort of
industrial
disputes and violence? You never know. You could have seen that world. There are very few people who
like
actually.
What happened in Maruti?
Like the first thing that comes to my head is when I think about that incident. And tomorrow when you talk to someone who says, yeah, I've worked for 15 years in this industry, automatically you know that this person has seen more of the world than you have.
Correct.
Because you have only seen people at your level. This person has seen it across levels.
Right.
So therefore he has a lot more value to add. So, and anyway this guy applies, and the first role they will look for him will be in a leadership position.
Right.
He could be taken on as a project manager or a program manager by any company that is looking to expand. It could be people looking for, retail companies could be looking for running their own warehouses, fulfillment centers or customer support teams. He could be joining, again, big hospitals. A lot of hospitals come and recruit from these schools nowadays. They need administrators, people who necessarily do not understand medicine, but they understand how to build a relationship with a person 2 levels below you, 4 levels below you.
Or even a strategy operations role in Amazon kind of role, right?
Any role, because
correct.
See, coming up with a strategy, what I have seen in my limited work experience so far is not so hard. Implementing it is far harder.
Correct.
Ideas, everybody has it. Implementing it is the hardest part. And you need people like this who have seen ups and downs to go and run that program, go and run that show. So I think it's a great fit wherever he applies.
So I think from my perspective, if you ask me, 3 things. The first thing is, 12 years, what happens a lot of times can be a blur, especially if he has worked in the same company for like 6-8 years. The role as such has not changed. So I think one thing that he probably needs to do in his essays or in this application, talk about exactly how his career has progressed, even if it's not a title or change, even if it's not like a promotion, But in terms of roles and responsibilities, expanded budget, expanded portfolio, I think that's a key because 10 years, 12 years, right, can be a little hard to justify. That would be my first point when he tries to portray himself. Second is, though I agree that he will get into a leadership, I think he probably can look at the schools, and I'll get to that shortly, but look at the schools and maybe try to figure out the kind of companies that recruit at that school, or look at the kind of companies that could potentially hire him,
Yep.
again using LinkedIn.
Yep.
And when he goes to a B school, I think B schools are going to be worried that 12 years experience, already his salary and stuff could be
Yeah.
at a higher level. Would we be able to place him?
Correct.
So maybe to kind of just let them know, look, I got it figured out. This is what I want to do. I'm not just going to come blindly and expect you to place me, right? I think.
See, there are two angles to it, right? One is his profile, the application part of it, through which he'll try to make sure he gets the shortlist. In that, with somebody coming with this kind of a background, I would want him to write about specific incidents or stories
Right.
which brought out his leadership qualities. For example, because he's running a manufacturing unit, there could have been a fire somewhere.
Correct.
How did he handle that situation?
Right.
Somebody could have died.
Correct.
What did you do?
Correct.
I have met candidates who used to work for steel plants, who used to work for blast furnaces. Anything can go wrong in a blast furnace. The temperature there is above 2000
Right.
degrees. Was there ever a situation with something very went wrong?
Correct.
In 12 years, I can't believe nothing went wrong.
Correct.
It has to go wrong.
Right.
Where were you at that state and what were you
Right.
doing? That story has to come out. That will at least get him to the interview call. Seems
Correct.
interesting. In the interview is exactly what you asked, is what they're going to ask him about. That what are your salary expectations?
Transferable skills that he
What
brings.
skills you have exactly? Where are you looking?
Right.
What kind of opportunities are you looking for? Have you done research about our B school and the kind of leadership positions being
Correct.
offered here? Do you know people like you or from your background who have been successful after passing out from this college? If he has done all that research, all that background check, which means he's a really
Right.
serious candidate, his chances will drastically improve.
The third point I had was extracurricular, like singing. It's one of those things, I don't know if he's had like a couple of drinks to have and start singing gypsy sing or bathroom singer. I don't know, right?
Doesn't
So,
matter to me.
Yeah, like singing. So, I think it has to be quantified. So the reason I'm kind of saying is could be potentially something that you could write about. So I had once a candidate, an applicant who came in and he said he likes singing old Kishore Kumar songs, right? So I said, well, Kishore Kumar songs, kind of I get it, and I was meeting him face to face. So I said, so Kishore Kumar songs great. So do you sing? He said, yeah. So I said, what's your favorite song? And he kind of said something. I said, can you sing? Suddenly he kind of like this thing, and he starts singing, right? And he sings with the same kind of enthusiasm and impact. And so then I realized that he actually was he was singing part-time in various functions in his office, wherever he got an opportunity. So I think the fact that the story that over there was about how he actually had this passion for singing, but at the same time he had like a stage fright and he was kind of this. So he said, look, singing gives me the confidence.
Of course.
He says, when I go there, I stand in front of the mic, I just forget what's in front of me and I just get. So I think there is a possibility to pick something, but he has to quantify. He cannot say, like singing. It
That's
has to be
nothing right.
a story. That's nothing. Correct.
Nothing right.
And in terms of schools, what do you think? I think going outside India, risky with such experience, 12 plus, that to manufacturing, maybe staying back in India, looking at some of the IIMs could be a better choice.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he has to be very, very specific which
Right.
US B school is he looking at.
Correct.
Or European B school looking at. India, it's a lot easier.
Right.
Our IIMs are designed for people with 8, 10,
Right.
12 years experience. ISB
Correct.
also has a senior executives club which looks for
Right.
people like this. So I think India, he won't have a problem, any problem per se.
Correct.
Outside, he has to be very careful and potentially talk to current and former students there to realize
Correct.
what are his chances, not just
Right.
getting in, but after
Once he
getting
gets
out,
in,
what
yeah.
happens to him.
Right.
He needs to know that.
Correct. Especially at that experience level,
Yeah,
the
yeah, because
opportunities.
the stakes are much higher. You would have probably have given up a job, you have a family, you have kids probably at
Right.
that age. It's very hard.
Correct.
People with 3, 4 years, you don't have a lot to lose.
Right.
He has a lot more to lose.
In fact, we had a couple of profiles with people, around about 40 years who ended up doing their MBA. Maybe we can link it down in this
Yeah.
video. But yeah, that's what we have for this candidate. So that's a wrap for this video. Thank you.